Good afternoon. You are rolling on the road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave, and Dave should be rolling in here pretty shortly. But I am so excited. We are still on our journey of discovering how about discovering your inner strength. And there are just so many facets when we talk about that to your inner strength. Last week, we took one of the 10 points with Rita. We were in Nigeria last week, so we are back in the United States today. Woohoo! And I'm excited. Our guest is Miss Francine Fuller. And let's see, we're going to click on there. There we go. We're going to make sure we can see our comments from our audience there. And she's going to talk about, developing your inner strength when you've had a loss. We have husband on there because she lost her husband. And of course, I recently lost mine. But I think anytime you lose a loved one, it seems to like take the air just away. And whatever that person brought to your life, it's like, oh my goodness. So right now, I definitely want to take a moment to the Saunders family down in Atlanta, Georgia, who just recently, I believe it was 10 days ago, lost their niece. And so I think this is going to be good for them to hear about how to, regain that inner strength after a loss. Miss Francis, how you doing?
I'm so fine, Dr. Kimberly. How are you today?
You know what? Today's a good day. I'm feeling like, oh my gosh. I was like, oh, look at her today.
Beautiful. So beautiful.
I said I hadn't even really looked at myself today, and I was like, oh wow, who who's that I see over there in the mirror? Oh, that might be me.
Thank you for having me live with you today. I so appreciate it, and I'm very much honored. And I also extend my condolences to you as well and your family in the loss of your husband.
Thank you, thank you. I definitely appreciate it. I think one thing that you probably will agree on is that there's always so much that happens all the way up to the day of the funeral and maybe 1 or 2 days after, and then everybody leaves and you're left there by yourself.
Yeah,
That's, I think, the part that people don't understand.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm not crying though. Yes, I am.
That's okay. Too. That's okay if you do.
you know um I think there were many people who were upset, like, oh my god, you didn't, I tried to call you, I tried to text you, and I just wanted to say, do you know, I really wanted to say, do you know how many people have texted me, called me, reached out to me, and I've been struggling with my voice, and there was just so much to do, and it's like you just can't call everybody, but I think
Mm,
there are just some people that, okay, if you could just hold on, I don't need you right now, I'm going to need you after.
afterwards, yeah.
How did you handle that?
Well, Dr. Kimberly, it was, I just say I was walking in a daze. I was there, but my mind wasn't there.
Hmm.
And my body was there, but I wasn't there. And I was living in a surreal atmosphere. And I saw people, but I didn't hear them. And because my husband died suddenly, um, with no warning at all, he came home for lunch. Our kids were in town. We said goodbye, our farewells, I kissed. And 2 hours later, I get a call that he had a massive heart attack. So it was quite a shock.
Oh,
And
so our stories are similar.
yeah, it was shocking. I was in a state of confusion, if I
Hmm.
could put it, and that's a light word to use. And so people were swarming me. They were there, but I still didn't see them. And it was very traumatic. My kids were there, their grandfather was there. And so it was quite emotional. And I was trying to keep it all together for my children. and my grandchildren. But it's very traumatic, very traumatic.
Absolutely.
After 40 years, we were together 40 years, and so it was a sudden. That's all I can say. Quite overwhelming. And if I can be honest to say this, I know people mean very well, but during that time, you're in a walking in a daze, and I got so tired of people asking me, "How am I? How am I?" And I wanted to say, "How do you think I am?"
Yeah.
I just lost my best friend,
Yeah.
the father of my children, the grandfather, a man that I met in my teens, and we together for 40 years. How do you think I feel? And so I just would get agitated with that. And so, but I learned how to cope day by day. And it was three things that I applied to my life: my
Hmm.
my family, and my friends, which were
Wow.
quite those kept me together, kept me grounded.
We want to say hey to Tracy Walls. She's in Faulkner, Maryland. Hey Tracy, so good to have you on today. She's the one who kind of got this going. Uh, Her original topic was about when your inner strength is tested. Will it be ready? And I said, well, when I thought about that one, I said I might have to change it a little bit because a lot of people don't even know what inner strength is. So we talked about, what is it? How do we develop it? So we started with talking about how to develop, the inner strength. And once we got those down, then we started having people talk about
Hmm.
some of those things that have happened to them, that when they get tested, what happens to your inner strength. And that's, what our conversation is today. And I want to say thank you so much to Tracy Walls and Wink, that when my inner strength was tested, they sent a beautiful, beautiful fruit basket, and which everybody enjoyed. I may have gotten maybe a melon, maybe a pineapple out of it. But what I kept to myself was this tea. And so today I am drinking Egyptian chamomile tea. I love when my friends get me. I love when they get me. So I am definitely enjoying that. And I think that's what was important to me is, people didn't just send anything. I knew I appreciate they knew me, and that's what I needed was some tea because that's what I drink all the time. And I eat fruit
All right.
all the time. So I think that really helped me, that there was somebody, a friend who's now turned into, family to me, that knew me and knew how, um, what my self-care looked like. I think that's the best way to put it. I know this is what she does for self-care. So it was extremely helpful during the most difficult time. And I think that you it's an ebb and a flow. You
Mm-hmm.
think?
I think so.
Because it's been 15 years for you. And what days get to you the most?
I would say holidays, our anniversary, his birthday, and the day he passed.
The usual suspects.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, there's Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, hello, hello, Francis. I have been listening for a few moments. Definitely,
Nice to
um, yeah, huge
Um,
thoughts and prayers. Thank you for being with us to share your experience.
thank you for having me.
Um,
um, so Demario says losing someone is not easy, but it's a process. I agree. I think that we go through the process every day. It's been 15 years for you. And let's see, Sister Francis. Oh, Doretha.
Doretha Ardwan, good to see Doretha in the house.
Hi, Doretha.
Ooh, ooh. And what does Tracy say? Tracy says,
Well, they love you, Dr. Kimberly, because it's talking about you enjoying the tea.
Mm.
Don't spill any tea, please. Just
No,
enjoy it.
no, I have on a white dress today, so no, we're not
All right.
spilling any tea on that. And I want to get a shout out to Renika's treasures. This is the beautiful jewelry that I have on today
Beautiful.
with the earrings to match. And she can be reached at 616-634. What is that number? 5905. Okay, so guys, I'm working on it. I did have my appointment, and they're going to remove my cataracts after I get my heart checkup.
Mm.
So I haven't made it to my 90 days yet, and they're going to check to see how much function that I have. So far, I was only at 30%, and only the top part of my heart was functioning. The bottom half wasn't pumping. So send good thoughts, prayers, good vibes
Mm.
that in a couple of weeks with the meds that they have on, and that's the other thing. I haven't been able to take all of the medications that they are prescribing that will help to heal my heart because I can't take them. They don't work well for me. They made me sick. So instead of six, we're only using four, and we're believing God for the rest.
Mm.
You guys are so quiet.
We're so quiet. I'm just going to say I greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated your comment, Francis, about people coming up and just saying, you know, people just say the stupidest things. I don't know if that's a technical term or not, right? But they just say, either they say things that they think are supposed to be helpful, or as you were saying, they're asking questions that are just like, I don't know.
I literally wanted to scream, and I have changed my way of offering condolences. I never say how you doing today, and I just did that with Dr. Kimberly, and I normally don't do that. I would just say, "How's your day going? Hope you're feeling good today." Say something complimentary, and not because grief is definitely a process, and every day you don't know what it's going to be like. I had some pretty dark days to the point I didn't want to live anymore.
Hmm.
And that went on for a long years. So it can be it's difficult. Difficult. It's all I can say is difficult. I'm finally getting through the process where I feel normal. I kept a journal
Mm.
on my process, and I also sang songs. I read. I got involved with the community. I had to develop that inner strength to come back because I didn't want to be back. I didn't want to be here. The grief was just that overwhelming. And I went through depression, suicidal, no hope. And I went through so many changes. I can't even remember them all. They were so difficult. And I had one lady was a pastor of my church. I can never forget. It was the Christmas holiday. And I know this is not in conjunction with the topic today, but I felt Christmas Day, I was alone. My family was doing their thing for Christmas. And I had said, when I get back home today, I'm taking all these pills. I don't want to be here anymore. And the pastor of the church, she walked by getting ready to leave, and she said, Francis, call me because I want to have take you out for lunch next week. And because she said that, I went back home and I said, I can't do it. She needs to see me this week.
Hmm.
And talking to her, she took me out. We got done talking. I felt my whole life had changed. I call her my angel today because she brought me back from disparity. And now I feel I have something to live for now. My family, my grandkids, my great grandkids. So I have something to live for today. And I'm thankful that I'm past that point now. Took me 15 years to get here, but I'm past it. Now the pain is not so hard.
Hmm.
And so I smile when I think of something he said or did. I laugh. My kids and I laugh all the time. When Daddy said this, and remember when Daddy did that? So I'm at this point now that I can go on, and I'm hopeful that my life is different now, and I'm thankful.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this it very much so is aligned with our topic on today because you found your inner strength in that moment when you were invited out. I think one of the difficult things for me is that when people see me, they break down crying. And it's like, it could be a good day for me. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know how you did it. You lost your husband, you had a heart attack. Oh my God, life is just terrible, isn't it? And then they just start crying. And I'm just, well, when you put it like that,
Right, right, right.
it's like, okay. you know, but what you said was right on point. And I'm so grateful to your angel on today. So I want to give a shout out to Miss Frances Angel for inviting her on that day to
Well,
say, let's
and
go have lunch.
yeah, and when you talk about inner strength and a 14-year journey, that's that's a lot of strength to journey for 14 years. Um, it's yeah. I mean, that's the piece to honor, the strength to get to today. And I'm just going to say, Dr. Kimberly, you have the wrong Bulkowski Budzinski on today because my wife worked for 13, 14 years at Gilda's Club here in Grand Rapids.
Mm-hmm.
And, they're a cancer and grief support group. Um, and yeah, she's just beautiful in how she supports people in their grief. Um, and because the one of the biggest things that I hear her tell folks is there is no normal in grief. There is no standard journey. Every grief journey is your own, and yeah, that you just have to live it and live with what comes with it and forward and um, the ups and downs because it's also not just a trajectory of today's a down day, the death of a loved one, and I'm just going to slowly climb up because, as you kind of alluded to, there are ups and downs.
Right.
Oh,
So,
definitely. I mean, when you think about how intertwined your life was, for 40 years, I look at how intertwined our life was. The fact that there's nothing that I didn't do without him. And Saturday was the first time that I attended a resource fair as 100 Shades, and I didn't have my husband.
mm,
And someone said, "Oh, I wonder who she's here with because she never did anything without her husband." And I'm not sure how I really wanted to feel about that. Then it was like, okay, I'm ready to go home.
yeah,
What am I doing out here without him
alone.
alone? And she's right.
Hmm.
She's right.
I had that same experience when I went to a restaurant by myself, and I sat down, and I realized he wasn't there.
Yeah,
So it was difficult.
I definitely had you to look towards and say, wow, so much has changed in the 15 years since he has died, and to see you so engaged, number one in the community, number two in social media, and every day, few times a day, posting, encouraging, and showing pictures of yourself and places that you go and things that you're doing. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can do this today.
Yeah.
I can do this today. I can find, my strength, because I'm sure today's not a good day. I'm sure that you and your husband every week at church would color coordinate.
Yeah. You remember that?
Oh my God, you would color coordinate. And so for you to compliment my husband and I, when we were color coordinated, when we would post pictures of places that we were, I said, wow, that's strong to me. Because I don't know that I can do that. And I mean, I say that today, it's only been a couple of months. Maybe, 4 months down the road, I might be able to compliment a couple. Right now, I get an attitude when I see somebody celebrating their husband's birthday,
Oh, you
or their
I did that too.
wife's birthday, and I'm like, I don't care. So, they're kind of,
I know, Kim. Dr. Kim, I
damn, stop
did
it.
the same thing. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm
I
spilling a lot of tea. I'm just gonna drink the tea and not spill the.
All right, all right. Francis, you were going to say that you had similar experience.
Yeah, I did. I would see people out and celebrating, and I felt so angry that that wasn't me because my husband and I were always together doing something. So it got difficult, and I wouldn't go anymore. I wouldn't go to events. I wouldn't go if I was invited out. I wouldn't go because it was just too hard, too hard. But my kids get me out all the time. They always got me dragging me to something. So I appreciate that I can find my inner strength through them as well. Yeah. But the journey is it's quite a journey. Quite a journey.
Um, so Shayna says that after losing her brother, I always encourage my saying he's in much better place than I am, but I know that God had better plans for him and needed him more. Okay, I'm not there yet.
No. Mm-mm.
No,
Hmm.
If I could
no.
do Dr. Kim,
Mm,
I was angry at God. I was angry. I told him, I know this is your will, but I'm angry at you. And I don't want to talk to you right now. And but if you give me time, I'll come back. I love you and I have a relationship with you, but right now I'm angry. I just was honest with him. I don't know how long I was like that, but I heard a minister say about 3 or 4 years after that, that you ask yourself, why me? And then he said, why not you? God would not allow it if he didn't think you were strong enough to handle it. So that moved me past my anger because I said, well, why not me? So my faith is still strong, but I had that period of desolation, that isolation. I didn't want to talk to him. So that's my truth.
I didn't feel that way because he gave us more time. He was they'd only given him 24 hours. So to
Mm,
get an extra 1,344, I was happy about that. That he honored it, honored the time.
mm-hmm,
And I had to look at, I guess, in this part, Shayna, this was difficult. And as much as I loved life for him, I couldn't live it for him. I had never had any issues with my heart. So I couldn't identify with him with all of the changes that needed to take place. He was in acute respiratory failure and in acute congestive heart failure, and not to be able to eat and be on such regimented medications. I mean, down to the time that they had to be taken, and every single day you have to weigh yourself at a certain time. You have to take your blood pressure by a certain time. And it's like, where do you have time to live in
Mm.
that if you're always monitoring those things that might bring about death if you don't do one of the steps? And so all I could do is just come alongside of him. And I learned that from disability advocates of Kent County, is that you just come along, see alongside people and let them live, their own best directed
Mm.
life. And so if today was a day that he was choosing not to do any of those things and wanted to take a day and live life, it wasn't for me to sit and fuss about it, because I don't know how much time we're going to have. So if he wants to eat a baked potato and put some salt and butter on it, Lord, please enjoy that potato.
Mm.
Let's see, what does Tracy say? Can you read that, Dave?
Yep, Miss Francis, I understand that statement more than you know.
And so maybe he is better in the respect that he doesn't have to live this regimented life. He could only drink 2 liters of water. This is somebody who probably could drink 3 gallons of water a day, literally, without even thinking about it.
Mm.
That's all he did all day long. I mean, we all know, all those who, watch the show, you could always hear the ice going back there in the background because
Mm.
he comes out, fills it up with some ice and drinks that ice water all day, all night. And to say that I can only drink 2 liters a day and that's it. And in that 2 liters, that included anything that had water in it as well.
Mm.
So we know that watermelon fruit has a lot of water in it.
Mm.
So that means you can only eat so much fruit, balance that with some water. And it wasn't until I had my heart attack that I could say, oh my gosh, I understand how you feel now, because I'm experiencing the same thing. They're saying, okay, this is what your life is going to look like. Um, I want to say that that built up a lot of strength, for him to say, I got to do this because I want more time with my wife.
Mhm.
I want more time. Let's see, we got but I definitely, okay. Oh, we got a comment there, Dave.
Oh, I'm looking for RT Franklin says blessings, hold fast for God will see you through. God said he'll make it all worth your while. Now go through, be encouraged. Thank you, RT. I'm looking up a saying that I read earlier today. That's why I'm a distraction here, because I want to throw it out there for your response. How come I'm not finding it?
Well, while you're looking for that, one of our 10 points is always be honest with yourself. And what I love throughout all of this is inner strength comes from being honest. It really does. Even on the days that were the darkest for you and you felt like life wasn't worth living, you were even honest about that. So I just want to commend you on being honest
Thank you.
and being transparent through all of it, and now being able to turn around and share your truth with the world. I mean, we're in all 50 states, we're in 12 countries, and we have people on here that I see that are new, that haven't responded before, and I'm so grateful for them. And your honesty, and your truth. I guarantee you, you just helped 175 people to say, you know what, if she can live through this, what I might be experiencing, maybe I didn't lose a husband, a cousin, a friend, a niece, but I've lost something in life. I lost my job. I lost my house. You know, I lost some friends along the way in these last 3 years. And maybe not necessarily to death, but maybe I've outgrown them
Mm-hmm.
or our values are not the same anymore. I've had a loss. And I was wondering, how was I going to get over this?
Mm.
I can't go through this. I can't do this. But because of your honesty, your truth, and your transparency today, somebody's going to say, oh my goodness, if she's made it 15 years to tell the story, I can do this too. That's the part that I love.
That's the only way to help people. I didn't want to dress it up. I didn't want it to seem like it was, I just went through with flying colors. I just wanted to be honest and tell my truth. Because when you're transparent, you can help somebody. So that's just what I have to do.
They say they have a saying that says God can't heal what you won't reveal.
Mm-hmm.
And, and so if we don't tell him that we have a hurt and acknowledge it, because he says, behold, I stand at the door and I knock. It doesn't say that he beats it down, he just kicks it through, you know, like they do on Miami Vice.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know any door. I look at my doors all the time and I'm like, oh my God, you mean that somebody can just take their foot and put it through it and open it up? That scares me a little bit, but we know that's Hollywood, that's television.
Right.
We know that's not real, but to have that image of God doing that to us seems a little scary to me. But he doesn't do that. He said, just behold, I stand at the door
At the door and knock.
and I just knock.
Mm-hmm.
And he waits patiently. He waits patiently for us. And so I'm honored, and I'm trying not to be a big baby today, but I'm just number one honored that you would come on this platform and that you would share such a personal and private journey and tell your truth. I'm just, yeah.
Well, it was something you said, Dr. Kimberly, when you were listing the kinds of loss, that loss is real.
Mm-hmm.
And the grief, that response to that loss, is equally as real.
It
And
is.
and yeah, and in the sharing, we discover other folks um, who also know loss, and can be strengthened by each other. So
So true.
What did Doretha say?
he sees you even when you aren't seeing you,
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
or seeking him. Seeking him.
Okay.
He sees you even when you aren't seeking him.
Because what he does is that he sends an angel
Mm-hmm.
and the angel invites you to lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's um, the how to say it. Um, I heard a phrase, an image a couple years back that the stars are out right now. We just can't see them because it's daylight. They're there,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, when do we see those angels? When do we not see them? They're there.
They're
They're
there.
supporting us.
Mm-hmm. And I would say, Dr. Kimberly, that hopefully I have a chance to encourage and pour into my angel because she recently lost her husband.
Mm.
And we're going out to lunch this week. And I don't know what to say because, especially in that situation, when you lose somebody, like you said, you could lose a job, you can lose your home. It's all loss.
It is.
And so it's not just death, but my heart goes out to her and pray for me that I have the right words to say to her as well.
We're grateful. It's 4:35, and you've been tuned into Rolling on the Road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. And we have, for a few weeks now, been on this self care and self discovery and developing our inner strength. And today we're talking about having inner strength when we have a loss. And we found out today that we can grieve anything that we've lost, whether we've lost time, a job, we've lost a portion of our health. Many of us, experience loss in that way, where, you're not as young as you used to be, losing your youth. That's definitely a big one, to grieve. Losing your way in life, or even losing a way of life. That's a loss. And many of that comes, when you do lose a spouse, your way of life. And yeah, but even in our grief, even in our darkest moments, we're developing our inner strength, we're strengthening it, and we're also relying on it.
Hmm.
We're relying on it. I think that we have a comment here
From Penny English Powell. She said she'll listen to the replay because she missed the first 30 minutes, but she's glad she's here to support your life, your of helping others in their losses. My prayers for you both and others during your losses.
thank you, Penny.
Thank you.
Um, but there are just different types of losses. I think Dave and I both experienced a different type of loss back in November, and I don't even like to use the word loss when it comes to certain areas. I ended up picking up the mantra of Nelson Mandela. He says that he never loses. He either wins or he learns a lesson.
Mm.
And so I have to look at that. What is this loss? Is this something that I'm to learn a lesson? Or was it really a win? And
Yeah, and I mean, with that one, Dr. Kimberly, oh, Sheila Curry, thank you. She says, I love somebody very special to me. I have good days and I have bad days, but I can at all sure, but the good times that we share together.
I think we got the meaning.
Yep, yep. And I was going to say, it isn't, you know, to say we didn't win, but we also didn't lose, and our communities didn't lose because both of us remain of service.
Yes.
You know,
Mm.
we didn't win the opportunity to serve in the way we wanted.
Mm-hmm.
However, we're still. Oh, oh, am I back? We're still serving.
Absolutely.
We're still. I mean, this service, we're out in the community. You know, I don't know if you noticed, this was like 80 something today, but I remember back in January somebody being of service out on the ice in their wheelchair.
Mm.
Taking pictures of
I wonder,
accessible travel to encourage other people with disabilities that get out, live life. So that's service service is just, who you are. So
I agree. And what I loved is one of the voters in House District 79, many of those voters, they watch the show, they stay in contact. And I had an opportunity to go to Fountain Street Church to their August speakers bureau. And so one of the voters out of the 79th district spoke and shot me a text and said, "Hey, Dr. Kimberly, I'm going to be preaching on Sunday, bringing the message. Can you come?" Absolutely. So it was an honor to be wheeled down to the front of, the chapel at Fountain Street and to hear a wonderful sermon that talked about when we serve one another, our heaven on earth has begun. And I
Mm.
said, how befitting. I also got a chance to see Pat Draper on Saturday. And for many of you, at the beginning of COVID is when we started. So that's been 3 years ago. And we had friends in some high places that kept us abreast to what was happening in real time. We had an epidemiologist. We had Pat Draper, who was the emergency preparedness director, which she still is. And when I saw her on Saturday at this resource fair, everybody says, "Oh my God, you guys know each other?" And the first thing that she said, "Yes, Dr. Kimberly and Dave have a show called Rolling on the Road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave." And they were a very trusted resource outlet for us to be able to get the news out to the community as to what COVID was, where they could get help, where they could get testing, and if they tested positive, what they needed to do. They were such a great resource at a time of desperation for our community. I said, "Oh my goodness, wow."
it is, again, from our memories are I don't know what the right word to put on our memories, but just it was 3 years ago. We had been on this show talking, but we'd been kind of locked in, right? Still the summer of 2020. And now we're able to wander about, and some things we forget. And, people who experience loss through COVID. I mean, there's a lot of folks. Um, I'm not saying anything out. Um, Father Mark Shibish, who was on our show a couple times because he had long haulers. Kama Queen, I'm late for the party. Love yous. Thank you, thank you. And yeah, and Mark had to retire from his priestly duties on July 1 because of his long haulers that he acquired because of COVID. And so, and unfortunately, a lot of people died as well in COVID times. So, I mean, it's just, um,
That is a major loss.
yeah,
That's a Francis. Can you imagine? I mean, that's just like Pat. Well, that he's a priest. He was pastoring that parish for such a long time, and I think he was on our show 2 or 3 times. I know
yeah,
a minimum of two.
oh yeah.
Mm.
So,
Minimum of two.
Wow.
As we I can't believe that our time has gone by so quickly. Any parting words?
I would say to each and every one out there that has a loss of whatever kind it is, just make the best of your life. Don't give up. Persevere. Take it one moment, 1 second at a time. Don't rush the process because the process has you. So stay in there, hang in there, and love life to the fullest.
I love it. Dave, did you find your quote?
I did, and it goes in a different direction. It wasn't as much on point, but something that Francis said earlier. It's like I don't say look for your angels, but be aware of your angels. They're all around. Again, when the pastor invited you to lunch, you could have easily just said, eh,
Yeah.
you know, but it's like, you know, all kinds of angels everywhere, big and small. Just be aware. And as we like to say around here, you need to be an angel.
Oh, bless you.
I mean, you definitely, as Dr. Kimberly said, you've been an angel today for a lot of folks, and will continue to be. So today's word for me is angel,
Angel.
messenger.
Hmm. Well, I want to thank you and Dr. Kimberly Dave for letting me be a part of this awesome experience in your broadcast. I appreciate the time and I'm very humbled to have accepted it. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Dr. Kimberly, last words?
I'm so excited. On next week, we're going to talk with Josh Usadell, and he's going to talk a little bit about his sermon from this past Sunday, and talk about the losses that he experienced and how he built his inner strength from his losses. He was divorced, lost his job, and had a bipolar episode all in the same week.
Mm.
Mm.
And to be up preaching now, and he's single co-parents. He's doing an awesome job with his children and with working and being in the community. I'm excited for what he has to say about how he maintained his inner strength when all of that loss happened just in 1 week. So as we talked about on today about those losses, we want to say thank you so much for tuning in to Rolling on the Road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave. And if you are experiencing a loss, please reach out. Or if you think that you may be experiencing suicide, what's the number, Dave? Are they still 211 or are they
Well,
nine?
definitely, I mean, 211 would get you to first call for help. I mean, 911, if you are at that edge, they'll connect you quick, I would think, to the suicide hotline. Um, if you're experiencing grief and you have a faith community, reach out. Gilda's Club Grand Rapids, um, for people with and without faith communities. I mean, it's non-sectarian, but a lot of believers in that building. Um, so yeah, there's a lot of resources out there, folks.
And if nothing else, call a friend
Mm.
and say, hey, I'm not doing so well today.
That's right.
Well,
Be
and
honest.
I was just gonna say how you said it earlier, Dr. Kimberly. Um, it's what was the heal to reveal, heal. Help me.
Oh, God can't heal what you won't reveal.
If you
Mhm.
call a friend and your friend can't read your mind, if for to call a friend, say, hey, I just had a call because I'm feeling like, and speak the truth.
Mhm.
Anyways,
Yeah. Be honest.
be honest
Be honest.
and
And
humble.
that's one of our 10 is being honest with yourself.
Mhm.
And we are so grateful for your honesty with yourself on today, Miss Francis. And
Thank
thank you so much for sharing with us. And if you didn't catch all of it, you can always catch it on the replay on YouTube at 100 Shades of Diversability. Yes, you can find us. Just type in 100 Shades of Diverse and
you.
we
Okay.
pop right up. You can't miss that purple.
Okay. That's your purple. That's your signature. Your purple.
It is. And you'll see Dave and I on there, and the heading is Rolling on the Road with
Mhm.
Dr. Kimberly and Dave. Oh, wait a minute. We have one more comment. What does Common Queen say?
It's us left behind on heavy earth that have to deal. The ones that have gone home are dancing in the sky. Got to stay strong. Their spirit lives within our souls.
Mhm. Right.
And we thank you. And that's how we'll end on today.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you on next week.
Okay. God bless you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.